Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's explainer, everyone. I'm really glad you're here. So today, we're going to learn how to speak clearly and, well, listen a whole lot better in English. And you know, this is a super important skill, not just for learning a language, but honestly, for life. So let's discover how to make our difficult conversations much, much easier.
Now, today's lesson is based on a really wonderful worksheet created by the Hope Support Center. They're actually experts in psychological and educational care. They use a pretty famous method called nonviolent communication, or NVC for short. But hey, don't worry about the big words. We're going to break it all down using this worksheet so it's simple, clear, and super easy for you to understand.
All right, here's our agenda for today. 5 easy parts. First, we'll meet the jackal and the giraffe. Second, the 4 NVC steps. Third, we'll look at facts versus opinions. Fourth, true feelings and needs. And finally, number 5, making a clear request. I'm going to speak nice and slowly today so you know exactly what English vocabulary to expect.
Let's jump right into part 1. Meet jackal and giraffe.
So, to understand how people communicate, we use 2 very different animals. Take a look at the left side. This is the jackal. Now, the jackal uses some pretty bad communication habits. They defend themselves, judge others, and they criticize. It's basically a language of attack. But look over at the right side. This is the giraffe. The giraffe uses good communication. The giraffe speaks clearly, listens carefully, and shows empathy, which just means understanding how another person feels. Our goal today? We want to speak like a giraffe.
Let's move to part 2 and see how this builds into the 4 NVC steps.
So, how exactly do we speak like a giraffe? Well, the Hope worksheet gives us a really simple model. I want you to look at these 4 English verbs. Number 1, observe. Number 2, feel. Number 3, need. And number 4, ask. Let's say it again. Observe, feel, need, ask. Try to memorize those because everything we do next is going to use these exact 4 steps.
Okay, moving on to part 3, facts versus opinions.
We're now going to look really closely at step number 1, how to observe correctly. Let's compare 2 ideas here. On the left, we have an opinion. Now, an opinion is just your personal thought or judgment. It might not actually be true for everyone. But on the right, we have a fact. A fact is a concrete observation. It's something real that you can actually see or hear, like looking at a clock or a camera. Remember, giraffes only use facts.
All right, now it's time for a quick test from the worksheet's first exercise. Look at this sentence. You are always irresponsible and late for every meeting. So, what do you think? Is this sentence a fact that we can measure, or is it just an opinion? Take a second and think about it.
Well, if you said opinion, you are absolutely right. The sentence on the left is definitely an opinion. Words like always or irresponsible are just judgments. That is the criticizing jackal speaking. But look at the right side. How does the giraffe say it? You came to the office 3 times after 9:15. This is a perfect fact. We can measure the number 3, and we can literally look at the clock for 9:15. There's zero judgment here, just a clear observation.
All right, part 4, true feelings and needs. So, after we observe a fact, we have to understand how we actually feel. But you know, we have to be really careful here. Sometimes we use the word feel when we're actually just thinking. Look on the left, we have a fake feeling. I feel that you are hiding something. See, that's not an emotion, it's just an evaluation. On the right, though, we have a true feeling. I feel deep sadness and frustration. Sadness and frustration are pure emotions right inside your body. When you speak, make sure to name your pure emotions.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the connection between our feelings and our needs. Think of this like a simple dictionary of feelings. Look at the left column. When our needs are met, we feel good emotions, right? Things like joy, peace, and relief. But look over at the right column. When our needs are not met, we feel negative emotions like anger, sadness, fear, or frustration. So your feelings are really just signals telling you if your needs are met or unmet.
So, what exactly are these needs? Well, the worksheet tells us that every single human being shares the exact same basic needs. It doesn't matter where you're from, we all have these. We have a need for autonomy and freedom, like just having a choice. We need safety and trust. We need closeness and relationships, like love and respect. We need meaning and growth. And of course, we have physical needs like sleep and rest. When these are missing, we feel sad or angry, but when we have them, we feel great.
And that brings us to part 5, making a clear request.
Now it's time for the fourth and final step, learning exactly how to ask. To make a good request, you've got to follow a simple rule from the source. Your request must be a specific action. It needs to be positive. So tell the person what you want them to do, not what you don't want. And it absolutely must be doable, meaning it's actually physically possible for them to do it. You ask for this action to help meet your human need.
Let's put all of this together. This is the magic template from our worksheet. Read it out loud with me. When I see, I feel because I need. And this brilliantly illustrates how the first 3 steps fit perfectly into one single English sentence. When I see is the observation, I feel is the emotion, because I need is your universal need. It's just so clear and simple, isn't it?
So, here's my final challenge for you today. I want you to think of a hard situation from your own life, maybe at work or at home. Try to use the template we just learned. And then add the final step, the ask. Can you finish the sentence? Would you be willing to Can you? Practice making a positive, doable request in English. Trust me, if you can master this, you are truly communicating like a giraffe. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today, and keep practicing your English communication. You've got this.